You are mute, I think. You are on mute.
Yes, we'll start the prayer again. Om Apyayantu Mamangani Vakpranashchakshushrotramatho Balamindriyani Cha Sarvani Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Mama Brahma Nirakarot Anirakaranamastva Nirakaranam Me Astu तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 Now, Yatha Saumya, mantra number 616. Page 44 onwards if you are in the English Bhashya, or if you are in the, what is that other one? If you are in the Sanskrit Bhashya, what page is that? I have to see. Page 3. Okay, yeah. So, mantra 616, that is what we have to, that is where we are. Yatha Somya. Somya means dear one, we have seen that. Yatha, in which manner? Ekena nakha nikrintanena, by just looking at one nail cutter. Nakha nikrintanam means nail cutter. This is our third example. The first example was the quintessential pot and clay. And then the second example was a bead of gold and every ornament and everything which comes under the gold world. So, a bead of gold and the gold world very much there. And so, that was that was the second example. The third example is a metal nail cutter. It's all metal, and the nail cutter, is very interesting because in the old ancient India, they had a particular kind of nail cutter which was more like a sickle, and then they used to just peel off the nail. It used to be very sharp. One side of it was sharp. So this is the nail cutter. Yatha, in which manner? By knowing one nail cutter, sarvam karshnayasam vijñātam syat. Everything made of iron is as well as known. One thing made of iron, everything you know. Because iron has certain properties, and then you cognize those properties right in the object that is a vikara, the modification of iron. What are those properties? It is cool to touch. The nail cutter is cool to touch, and the iron is also cool to touch because they are one and the same. It is prone to rusting. That is all, these are all the properties of the iron which are there in the nail cutter. So, knowing the nail cutter, everything made of iron, oh dear one, is as well as known. Then again he repeats, Vacharambhanam vikaro namadheyam karshnayasam iti eva satyam. So what is nail cutter? It's a word which has a meaning. Word and meaning. What is pot? Word and meaning. What is ornament? Word and meaning. What is nail cutter? Word and meaning. That's all it is. It is all dependent on your speech. It is nothing other than speech. It is dependent on your speech alone, and on that speech is centered this word nail cutter, which has a certain form, which has a certain purpose. But really speaking, what is this nail cutter? It's just a word. It's actually iron. It's a form of iron. And so the nail cutter here is not a thing in itself. It is as good as just, it is because it is non-separate from its cause, which is iron. And then, so this is what he's trying to say here. And then, evam somya saha adesho bhavati. That teaching. What teaching? That was last weekend. Who remembers what teaching he's talking about? That teaching which you should have asked your teachers for, but you didn't. That teaching. Oh, that, says Shvetaketu. Yeah, that teaching which you should have asked your teachers for, and instead, what are you doing? Strutting around like a peacock, proud of yourself, and have, I totally shamelessly, and thinking that you know a lot. When you don't know much, when you don't know anything, no Vishesha, nothing special you know the same things which the other children of the neighborhood who went to Gurukula also know. And then what is it that you're just showing off here? I thought perhaps you had that knowledge, knowing which everything would be known. So that teaching is like this. This is what he meant. Evam eva, in this manner alone, that teaching is like this. Saha adeshaha, that teaching is like this. Yaha maya uktaha. Adi Shankara supplies this. That which was told by me. Why does Adi Shankara supply this? Because he knows we are having weekend classes and we need a little help to remember in between. So he supplies this. Yaha maya uktam, he will say later on. So, Bhashya. Yatha somya.
Yatha somya.
Ekena.
Ekena.
Nakha nikrintanena.
Nakha nikrintanena.
Upalakshitena.
Upalakshitena.
Krishnayasa.
Krishnayasa.
Pindena.
Pindena.
Ityarthaha.
Ityarthaha.
So yatha, just as from one nail cutter, upalakshitena, which is actually an example of something that stands for a lump of iron. That's what he says. Karshnayasa pindena. What? Sarvam karshnayasam. Bhashya. Sarvam karshnayasam.
Sarvam karshnayasam.
Krishnayasa.
Krishnayasa.
Vikarajatam.
Vikarajatam.
Vijñātam syāt.
Vijñātam syāt.
Samanam anyat.
Samanam anyat.
So he just clarifies a few things. He says, Sarvam karshnayasam. Karshnayasa is a tadhita word. It's a noun formed from another word, from another noun. Krishnayasa means iron. Karshnayasa means Krishnayasa vikara jatam. Jatam here is, born of Krishnayasa, born of iron. Karshnayasa. See, in English, born of iron, 3 words. In Sanskrit, Karshnayasa. Provided, of course, we can pronounce it, then no problem. So Sanskrit is always into economy of words, okay? Yeah. So, Karshnayasa vikarajatam vijñātam syāt. Vijñātam is just as that is known. And then what is samanam anyat? Everything else is like above. What is like above? Vajarambhanam vikaro namadheyam krishnayasam ityeva satyam. That is all just like above. And above where? Above, just like when it was discussed with gold with reference to pot and clay, etc. So clay is Sat, gold is Sat, and iron is Sat. We have to infer. Adi Shankara says, I have done all the hard work. Now you put some dots together and you connect the dots. I have already told you what this means, because the same word is being repeated in the Shruti. Then he says this, Bhashya, Aneka Drishtanta
अनेक दृष्टान्त
Upadanam
उपादानं
Dashtantika
दार्ष्टान्तिक
Aneka Bheda
अनेक भेद
Anugamartha Anugamartham
अनुगमार्थं
Dhrida Pratityarthancha.
दृढ प्रतीत्यर्थं च.
Yeah. See, this is beautiful because there are three examples given. Three examples are given. Oh, we already know what those three examples are. Pot and clay, one example. Gold and ornament, and then iron and nail cutter. These three examples are given. Adi Shankara supplies the reason why those three examples are given. We could have just finished off with pot and clay. Vacharambhanam, vikaro, namadheyam, etc., etc. Done, finished. But three examples, why? We could have just finished with, because they are actually iterating the same thing. Everything made of gold is nothing but gold. Everything made of clay is nothing but clay. Everything made of iron is nothing but iron. Why do we need three examples? And he says, Aneka Drishtanta Upadanam. Upadanam means Grahanam. The assimilation of these three examples, he says, is not a fallacy of repetition. It's not for the sake of repetition. Aneka, many, Drishtanta, examples, Upadanam, the existence of. Darshtantika, Aneka, Darshtantika, Aneka, Bheda, Anugamartham. So the Drishtanta here means the example. And we have another word, Darshtanta, that which is exemplified. So in pot and clay, what is the Drishtanta? Pot and clay. Pot is the Drishtanta, correct? Yeah. And then the pot is the Drishtanta in this pot clay thing. And then what is the Darshtanta? Jagat is the Darshtanta, Sat is the clay. Okay, that is the Darshtanta. Drishtanta means example, and that which is exemplified by the example, that which the example is trying to illumine, is called Darshtanta. Drishta Sadrisham, Drishta Tulyam, Drishtantam. Anta means here Tulya, not the end of Drishta. No, Drishtantam means the Drishta Tulyam, equal to that which is seen. So that is Drishtanta, example. Darshtanta means exemplified. So Aneka Drishtanta Upadanam, the existence of or the iteration of many examples. Darshtantika, Aneka Bheda Upagamartham. To show that there are many things in the world and they all behave in the same manner. And what is this manner? The effect is non-separate from the cause in thing number 1, thing number 2, thing number 3. Also, it could be according to people's raga and dvesha, strong likes and dislikes. If somebody, let us say there was a pot hater, and then you start off with the pot example, then they'll stop listening. No, but aren't you supposed to keep your raga dveshas at bay? All your strong prejudices, all your strong preferences must be kept at bay. Yeah, ideally, but we're not talking of the ideal world. We're talking of actual shrotas, listeners, who may say, what is this? I don't like pot, and I'm not going to listen to this teaching. So the 6th chapter is gone. And then they open Kenopanishad, and then something else is gone. And then like this, so many things are missed. And so the Upanishad makes sure that that which is that there is a connection first of all between the example and the exemplified, and then the that which is exemplified has to be understood avagamartham. So that avagama or anugama means that has to be understood, that which is exemplified, namely the connection between everything in the universe, in the Jagat, and Sat, which is Brahman, that has to be understood. The cause effect relationship there has to be understood. We are not bothered about pot and clay, except they serve as a convenient illustration to assimilate the fact that the whole Jagat is non-separate from its cause, which is going to be unfolded in the next page later on, i.e. in the next page, as Sat and Sat alone. So therefore, since there are many and varied forms and names in the universe, Adi Shankara says that it is very good to be able to have a variety of names and forms, so that if somebody is put off by gold, then there is pot and clay, trusty pot and clay. And if somebody is not liking nail cutter and iron, etc., the other two examples serve. It keeps the people riveted there in one way or the other. There is no attrition. You keep the people going with these kinds of examples. The examples also serve for dridha pratityartham cha. Dridha means certain, pratiti comprehension, cognition. So each time you hear one example, you say, aha, oh, pot non-separate from clay, ornament non-separate from gold, nail cutter non-separate from steel or iron, and then so there is a pattern here. So that is dhrida pratiti, to make the comprehension, to assimilate this fully. To assimilate this fully, the example is given. He gives two reasons. And the other one is also to clarify the fact that in this world there are many kinds of things, and then it's fine to be able to give many examples. There is also one more reason. And what is that reason? You see, the pot clay example, none of the examples are complete in themselves. They have some flaws. Why do they have flaws? Because we are talking of that which is the flawless Brahman. And how can anything in the Jagat be equated to that? If pot and clay were a perfect example, then you don't need any other example. Pot and clay is enough. But you see, the pot undergoes certain modifications. The clay undergoes certain modifications to become pot. It's not just that the clay is shaped into pot, which is the word and meaning. There is fire involved. The pot is put in a kiln and fired up, it is baked. And then there is a kathinya, there is a hardening of that clay. There is a hardening, a brittleness, which the lump of clay on the roadside does not have. And so this is not an adequate example, because the pot has already undergone a certain change. So you cannot say the pot is nothing but clay, because for those who have a literal mind will beg to object and say, they will raise their hand and say, excuse me, the pot is a brittle form of clay. So this is the problem. Then we have gold and ornament. That's why we have gold and ornament. The shine of the gold is the shine of the ornament. The weight of the ornament is just the weight of gold, nothing but gold. There is just nothing other than gold. It is very clear. And the gold has a certain, what is that called? Carat, Why gold is called carat, I don't know, but then that doesn't matter. That's for a different discussion. So how many carats? So you start counting. 14 carats it starts at. It is a testament to the purity. 14 carat. Indian women will not go for this 14 carat and 18 carats. They will think it's as good as carats. They are not interested in that. They start talking only at 22, because it should be pure, because the gold is Lakshmi. That is why they will not settle for these 14 and 18 carats. And so pure gold it should be, and it should not have anything else. And 22 I think is the maximum you can have in the form of an ornament, because 24 if you want to keep, I suppose you can keep it as a gold biscuit or a brick at home, but it's very difficult to shape delicate ornaments without the presence of little bit of silver, copper to make it a little more malleable. So 22 carat like this. So the gold, doesn't undergo any change. And then, the weight of the ornament is the weight of gold. The value of the ornament is the value of gold. It is gold, gold, gold all the way. But this too has a flaw. What is the flaw? The ornament serves no purpose other than ornamentation. There is no utility value. Oh, but it helps to show off status. That is its utility. Yeah, once in a while. And who keeps gold ornaments at home? Ask anybody in India. They will buy the gold, but then it will all be in a locker somewhere in a bank. Nobody keeps it at home. It's too dangerous. So this is just to show off once in a while, and then you wear it and then go somewhere. It's more of a headache. And then you have to first go to the bank, collect it, and then you get it polished because it's been lying there for so long. You even forgot you had it, and then you wear it. And then you come back and you wrap it in tissue paper, and then in bubble wrap and this wrap and that wrap, and then you have to go back to the bank and put it. I mean, it's just such a big bother. So the gold, the example, even though it is helping to fill up the pot example's flaws by saying that it has not undergone any change. Gold is ornament is gold, literally, with a form. It still has its problems, because the Jagat and the Sat, Jagat and Ishvara, that connection, it doesn't fulfill, what is that, a utility or a use. What is the use of the ornament? Of course, this is something which is this is just something, that's why it's called ornament, because it is something for the purposes of ornamentation. That's all it is. And so the third example is something that you use every day, that nail cutter. If not every day, at least every week. And so you cut the nail and everything. So it is all metal, and it is non-separate from its cause, and then it has a utility as well. That's why he stops at this example, because he has clinched it. He has come to a nice little, place from where he can launch to the Darshtanta, the teaching. He can do the teaching. So what is the point of this pot, clay, ornament, gold, and nail cutter and iron? The point of this is to establish that the fact that the effect is non-separate from the cause. That is the main point. The effect is cause, but cause is not effect. Pot is clay, but clay is not pot. We have seen this. Same thing with gold and the other one. And then, where is he going? He is going now to establish the point that the entire Jagat is an effect. Why? Jagat means the universe. The entire manifest universe is an effect. Why is it an effect? It is an effect because, like the pot, like the ornament, and like the nail cutter, it is put together. It is put together. And therefore, it is an effect. It is put together and it has a cause. But since what we are talking about in the case of Sat and the Jagat, the cause is one and one alone. A second cause is not involved. Only one cause. Whereas if you discuss pot, then you have fire, which is an auxiliary cause that fires up the pot. Then you have the potter, the one who made the pot. Jagat is Sat, Jagat is Ishvara. If you catch hold of any object in the Jagat, Ishvara comes along for free because it is all Satchidananda, effortlessly. But here, if you buy a pot and take it home, the potter doesn't come along with you and say, I have a connection with this pot and I cannot be without this pot. You buy the pot, you buy me. No such thing. You don't even know, especially in this capitalism, you don't even know who made anything anyway at any time. Nobody knows. Nobody knows at all. And so therefore, this is very beautiful because the second cause is not involved. Like in the gold and the ornament, we have the gold smith. There is no smith here. If there is a smith, it's a Ishvara, the finger smith. Finger smith means the one who can make things disappear without you knowing it. You know, it's a kind of colloquial expression. So there is no smithy involved, there is no smith involved, there is no intermediary cause, there is no auxiliary cause. And the separation of the raw material and the maker is not there. And there are no auxiliary causes like fire, the potter's wheel and the material clay, nothing. There is one non-dual cause, and that is where we are going to, we are headed. So then what? Then these three things, this what is going to come next, not these three examples, are going to lead to the expression which is often quoted in the mantra that is going to come, where on the next page, and then what does it say? Sadeva somya idamagre asit. Idamagre, before all this, before the Jagat came into being, the Jagat was. Well, this sentence doesn't make any sense at all. If you had started with this sentence, before the Jagat came into being, Jagat was in the form of Sat. What? What are you talking about? Jagat was existent. And then, so therefore, he has to first establish the cause-effect connection through these examples and then lead one to this Mahapratignya, the primary thesis statement in this entire chapter. That this is a statement that governs the whole chapter. Sat eva asit. So this is what is called a Mahapratignya. And so what is this Mahapratignya? Mahapratignya means a powerful opening statement. And what is the Mahapratignya here? Knowing one thing, everything is known. And the status of the effect is neither dismissible as non-existent, nor is it affirmable as existent. Why? Because it is just nama dheyam, nama matram eva. It is only name. There is no substance in a name. There is no guna. There is no dravya. All these things, these are the phrases Nayayikas use. Logicians and all these things use these phrases. There is no guna, there is no dravya, there is no material there. And he has already pointed out to us, Adi Shankara has in the Bhashya, saying that there is no such thing called effect. You can't go and buy a vikara effect from the market, no matter how hard you try. And so, therefore, vikara jatam, this whole samuha, this whole world of effects, they have different names which are just words and meanings. This is what has been established very elegantly in the shortest amount of words that is possible by the Upanishad, by Uddalaka's teaching. And as I told you, Shvetaketu is open mouthed. Probably a few flies have entered and gone out by this time. And then finally he catches his breath. And then, he says something. What does he say? Let us see. Bhashya. Iti
Iti
uktavati
uktavati
pitari
pitari
aha itaraha.
aha itaraha.
Yeah. The other one. See, the Adi Shankara doesn't even take his name. He says the other one. Who is the other one? The one that is not speaking now. And the Shvetaketu. So, after being addressed by the father in this manner, Shvetaketu says the following. What does he say? Let us read the mantra. Navai nunam
Avai nunam
bhagavantah
bhagavantah
te
te
etat
etat
avedishuhu.
avedishuhu
एतद् अवेदिषुः यत्
yat
यत् हि यत् ह
yat ha
एतत्
etat
अवेदिष्यन्
avedishyan
कथं मे
katham me
न अवक्ष्यन् इति
na avakshan iti.
भगवान्
Bhagavan
तु एव
tu eva
मे
me
ब्रवीतु इति
tad bravitu iti.
तथा सौम्य
तथा सौम्य
इति होवाच.
iti hovacha.
Shvetaketu, his ahankara is not completely gone. From 6.1 mantra number 7, we can see this very clearly. The boy says, Navai nunam. Indeed, not. Navai, not indeed. Nunam, really speaking. Bhagavantaha, O revered sir, father, who is now the teacher. Te etad avedishu. Te means who? My guru did not know this. Te bahuvachanam adarartham. So the plural is for respect. So te na avedishu. Definitely my teacher did not know this. Why do you say that? Because yadi etat avedishyan, if they had known this, then katham me na avakshan, why didn't they teach me this? I was the one with a perfect GPA. I was the best student, east or west, I was the best. I was the best chanter, I was most obedient, I was the one that was brilliant. So if they didn't teach me, then my conclusion is what? Aha, they just didn't know, period. And then he says, Bhagavan, O Lord, O revered sir, you alone please teach me. And then Shvetaketu's father is at least thankful that he is wanting to study, and he does not upbraid him for his rude speech regarding his teacher at the Gurukulam. He says, Tatha Somya, okay, my loved one, I will teach you. But Adi Shankara doesn't spare Shvetaketu. Adi Shankara talks about this, highlights what he says, and then gives a very interesting reason. See, this is the compassion of the of gurus, it's of sages. I mean, Adi Shankara is so brilliant, yet fully kind. And for him, the Upanishad as pramana is alive. And so his Shvetaketu's psychological background of his rudeness to the teacher back at the Gurukulam. He talked bad about this teacher. So you're not supposed to talk bad about teachers. Otherwise, what happens? The Tattva Bodha says that you get some bad karma. Like if the teacher accidentally steps on a bug, then you get the karma because the teacher doesn't get the karma. This is what Tattva Bodha says. And it may not be true, but it is just so that to deter people, so that you don't self-sabotage by critiquing the source of knowledge. That's all. So that's the only reason. Adi Shankara sees that he has done that, he points to it and he says this is wrong, but at the same time, very brilliantly, he also is able to enter the mind of Shvetaketu and surmise why the boy in this kind of a position would have done the unthinkable, that is, criticize the Guru. Let us read. Bhashya. Navai nunam bhagavantah
न वै नूनं भगवन्तः
पूजावन्तः
पूजावन्तः
गुरवः
गुरवः
मम
मम
ये ते
एते
एतत्
एतत्
यत् भवद् उक्तं
यत् भवद् उक्तं
वस्तु
वस्तु
न अवेदिषुः
न अवेदिषुः
न विज्ञातवन्तः
न विज्ञातवन्तः
नूनं.
नूनं.
So he says, Navai Nunam, not indeed, O Lord, O revered Sir, my Guru. Again the plural is for respect. Pujavantaha Guravaha Mama, my worshipful Guru. Adi Shankara is supplying the words that Shvetaketu should have said. This is trolling Shvetaketu. In modern days we would say this, throwing a shade on him. Okay, this is a very good form of trolling. Okay, so you did not say that, so let me, out of the kindness of my heart, fill in the blanks. So, Mama Pujavantaha Bhagavantaha, my worshipful Guru, why didn't they say this? They must not have said this because they did not know. Yat Bhashya. Yat
यत्
Yadi hi
यदि हि
avedishyan
वेदिष्यन्
viditavantaha
हितवन्तः
etadvastu
एतद्वस्तु
katham me
कथं मे
gunavate
गुणवते
bhakta
भक्त
bhaktaya
भक्ताय
anugataya
अनुगताय
na avakshyan
न अवक्ष्यन्
na uktavantaha.
न उक्तवन्तः.
So all the things marked in yellow are from the text, and everything else in red is that which Adi Shankara has supplied. This is only in the Sanskrit bhashya. So if they had known viditavantaha, avedishyan, he translates as viditavantaha, same thing. If they had known, if my Guru had known etad vastu, this object, which is what, this fact that knowing one thing, everything is as well as known. Katham me, why did not that Guru? Me means me. Which me? Gunavate, full of wonderful attributes. He's patting himself on the back. Full of excellent attributes. Bhaktaya, and full of Shraddha and Bhakti. Anugataya. Anugataya means as the Guru said to do, I did that. And the Guru said this, and I did that. And so I was the best one. in terms of intelligence, in terms of all kinds of qualities, in terms of Shraddha, Bhakti, and Yathoktakari. Yathoktakari means as he was said, he would do. And then, so he is going to conclude. What is he going to conclude? Bhashya again. Tena aham manye
तेन अहं मन्ये
na viditavantah iti.
न विदितवन्तः इति.
From this I surmise that they must not have known. They did not know. What a logic, huh? Very clever fellow. What a logic. I am excellent, I am brilliant, and the teacher should have taught me. If the teacher didn't teach, that means they did not know. And then, so so here he is trolling him up till now. Then he gets out of his compassion, he gets into the mind of Shvetaketu and gives a very compelling and important reason why Shvetaketu was dissing his teacher back at the Gurukulam. Let us read. Dissing means disrespecting. Okay, yeah, this is what is that? Teenage slang. All right. So, avachyamapi
अवाच्यमपि
गुरोः
गुरोः
न्यग्भावम्
न्यग्भावम्
अवादीत्
अवादीत्
पुनः
पुनः
गुरुकुलं प्रति
गुरुकुलं प्रति
प्रेषणभयात्.
प्रेषणभयात्.
Yeah. So, avachyam means that which should not be said at all. He said the unsayable. He came back completely insufferable and then said that which should not have been said. What kind of a training he received at the Gurukulam? People should not, make that mistake. Oh, what kind of a, training has he received at the Gurukulam? What is the use of this? People should not make that mistake. And so, Adi Shankara says that even though this is avachyam, vachyam, that which is worthy of being talked, said. Avachyam, that which is unworthy of being spoken. Avachyamapi, even though it is unworthy of being spoken, guroho nyagbhavam. Nyagbhava means down, putting down. Nyag means down. It's a word, it's a word that can be both literally and figuratively used. Nyagbhava means lowly attitude. Nyagrodha. Have you heard the word Nyagrodha? Yeah, Nyagrodha means the banyan tree is called Nyagrodha. Rodha, that which grows, Nyag, downwards. See, the same word, Nyag. So, Nyagbhava, looking down upon the teacher, is Nyagbhava, an attitude, bhava, attitude that looks down upon the teacher. Avadit, already said. He talked about looking down upon, he expressed a downward view of the teacher, a lowly view of the teacher, even though that is not done. Avachyam api, even though he knew full well that is not done. Then why did he do it? Because he had a pressure. What was the pressure? You see, he had been recently released from the Gurukula. We can't quite call it a penitentiary, but definitely it is a zenitentiary. So he recently let loose. Wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and then, no tea or coffee, and then you just go straight to meditation from there. And then all the day you are busy, no fun, no cable TV, no, and you are not, no friends. And even if there are friends, they sit and chant the Paninian Sutra, Vriddhiraje, Chadengunaha, etc., etc., etc. So there is, it's a very disciplined life. It's a very disciplined life. And that life is going to serve you lifelong. That he doesn't yet know, but it's a disciplined life. And at age 24, one gets rebellious. One wants to not be told, one wants to not be told by any guru what to do. So he had just come out of there. He was still having PTSD of the Gurukula, and he was just trying to recover. And so he was still, you can take the boy out of the Gurukula, but it takes time to take the Gurukula out of the boy. And so that is why he said it out of the fear of being sent back again by the strict father. पुनः प्रेषण भयात गुरुकुलम प्रति. So preshana means send, being sent. Preshana bhayat, the fear of being sent back to the Gurukula by the strict Uddalaka who had his own Gurukula. And he thought that OMG, if this knowledge I didn't get somehow, and of course it's that Guru's fault who didn't teach me, and for the Guru's fault I will be sent back. I will be sent back, and I have to again get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, bathe in cold water, and one day dal and rice for lunch, and the other day what? Rice and dal for lunch, and then the third day what? Dal and rice for lunch. Okay, enough. So he quickly says, they must not know, even if you send me back, it is of no use, they don't know. He's behaving like a child, very childish. You see his inner child coming out to play, or coming out in a fit of helplessness. And what is the helplessness? He after all, the father is not mad at him. Father is calling him Somya and everything. And here he is totally helpless. He doesn't want to be sent back at all costs. So even though it is avachya means not to be talked about, not to be said, he still puts the teacher down because of his own problems, his own issues, his own limitations and fear. Ataha
अतः
Bhagavan
भगवान्
tu eva me
तु एव मे
mahyam
मह्यं
tadvastu
तद्वस्तु
yena
येन
sarvajñatvam
सर्वज्ञत्वं
ज्ञातेन
ज्ञातेन
मे स्यात्
मे स्यात्
तद्ब्रवीतु
तद्ब्रवीतु
कथयतु
कथयतु
इति उक्तः.
युक्तः
पिता उवाच
पिता उवाच
तथा अस्तु सौम्य इति.
तथा अस्तु सौम्य इति.
So, atah, therefore, O revered sir, O Lord, may you yourself unfold this teaching to me, because of which, knowing one thing, everything else is as well known. He makes an appeal, and the father looks like he understood. What did he understood? What did he understand? That any deficiencies on part of the Guru must not be aired, but he still mentioned it out of some fear. We'll let it slide. So the father said, Tathastu, okay dear fellow, I will teach. And so saying, we should all congratulate ourselves because we have made it through part 1. Yippee! Hang in there. Okay? Yes, I salute your perseverance and your patience. Okay. Next one. The next section is going to is basically the Darshtanta. Darshtanta means that which is exemplified by the examples in section number 1. And what is that? What is the meaning of pot clay? Pot is not separate from clay. Big deal. Why do I have to know that? Ornament is not separate from gold. Nail cutter is not separate from iron. What do all these incidents and these examples, what do they signify? What do they exemplify? That is what is going to be discussed here. And through a prakriya means a pedagogical tool. A methodology is called prakriya. Through a prakriya which is very famous and which is found all over the Upanishads, called the cause-effect prakriya or the cause-effect pedagogy, in Sanskrit karana-karya prakriya. Like this we have many tools. Many tools are there to talk about different things in Vedanta, teaching tools, and these teaching tools include things like avasthatraya prakriya, a teaching modality or a pedagogy based on the intimate experience of oneself as the sleeper, waker and dreamer. This is one prakriya. And what is this prakriya? You are neither the sleeper nor the dreamer nor the waker. You are the one that inhabits all of them without becoming any one of them. This is an important prakriya. Then we have Panchakosha prakriya, a discussion, a pedagogical tool that tries to teach that you are not the locus of different errors. Like the body is a trap, because one can easily think I am as good as the body. But the body is a locus of error. Prana is a locus of error. And then all these koshavat achadakatvat iti kosha, that which hides is called kosha, that which conceals. And so these loci of errors conceals the truth from oneself. So that becomes an important pedagogy to unpack these loci, these areas where one makes a mistake of thinking the deha, the body, to be atma. So therefore there is a discussion of what this body is. What is this body? The body is just idlis and dosas that you have packed throughout the day or throughout the life. Oh, really? So then all the squishy parts of the body are idlis and dosas? No. In a modified form. Annamaya, natu annam. Annamaya, a modification of food. The food that the parents eat, it starts all with the parents, you see. The food that the parents eat is modified into your body, and then of course you also start to eat, and then it is further modified into all the changes that your body undergoes. So Annamaya kosha, Anna vikaraha. Then you go like this, you unpack what is the body. The body is nothing but food. What is prana? Nothing but air and other 5 elements. What is mana? Are the 5 elements in the sukshma form. What is kartritvam? The doership, I as the doer. That is again a superimposition on the atma which is free of doership. That is an error. And what is enjoyership? That is again a vikara of the ananda that you are, a modification of the ananda that you are. It is so all this is errors are pointed out, so that you can delineate the I that is described in the Upanishad as Satyam Jnanam Anantam from all these things that hide or as though conceal the I which cannot be concealed. So this is another, Panchakosha prakriya, avasthatraya prakriya and karana karya prakriya. These are the very important prakriyas. But I tell you, this karya karana prakriya, the effect cause pedagogy, clinches it. That is what is always used to unfold any Mahavakya. The other prakriyas just do the, they just unfold the tvam pada. They don't do the tat pada, if you look carefully. They only look at what is this I. Tvam pada means tvam pada vichara, an inquiry into the word you. You means I. So they just establish The fact that the self is not any of the things it may be associated with. Like you are not the sleeper, you are not the waker, you are not the dreamer, and you are not anything in between either. Any other lucid dreaming and other forms of cognition, you are not. What are you? You are that you are that who infuses the waker with your presence, visits the dream state, visit the sleep state without being any one of them. All of them are you. You are not any one of them. This is what is called Tvam Pada Vichara, an inquiry into you. This is not all of Vedanta. In the words Tattvamasi, we have to enquire into the word Tvam, which is you. You have to enquire into the word Tat, which is Ishvara. Otherwise, the engagement is incomplete. Then you cannot say Mahavakya. So the Avasthatraya Prakriya, Panchakosha Prakriya, all these, they only deal with the Tvam Pada most of the time. You are not the body, you are not the mind, you are not the senses, etc., etc. And if we stop there, then we run the risk of dissociation. I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not this. Then there is a big complex. Then what are you? Then the answer comes zero. At least before, when I was endowed with the body mind sense complex and I had Dehatma Buddhi, I am the body, I thought, okay, at least I was something. I was the body. Now I'm neither the body nor anything else. What am I? This is very dangerous. Only dealing with the Tvam Pada is dangerous. And likewise, only dealing on the other side of the equation, Tat Pada, the word Tat, which is Ishvara, makes one into a Bhakta, all right, but then there is not that oneness. Tat is equal to Tvam. This is what the whole 6th chapter is committed to unfolding, that that Tvam, which you thought to be confined to this body, mind, sense complex, is in fact equated to the cause of the universe, Ishvara, Bhagavan, God. This is the vision of Vedanta. And the Karya Karana Prakriya alone is able to unfold this. Why? Effect is cause. See, it deals with the so-called effect, and then it deals with the cause. And it immediately establishes the oneness. You who thought you were an effect, because you identified with the body, mind, sense complex, are now rebranded as one and same as the cause. You thought you were because, but now you turned out to be the cause. You thought you were small, but you are Sarva, all. You thought you were odd, but no, you are God. This is the beauty of Karya Karana Prakriya. Very, very complete, because it is the final Prakriya. The cause-effect presentation is the prime and final methodology. The other methodologies exclude the Jagat, because the Jagat is not talked about. Because it's all about who you are and then establishing the self. But the Jagat is where the problem is. The Jagat is where the duality, Jagat means universe. The universe is where on the day-to-day level the duality is experienced. Hurt is experienced. Sorrow is experienced. Limitations are experienced. The Karya Karana Prakriya does not exclude anything. There is also Drik Drishya Prakriya. What is that called? The seer-seen Prakriya. Whatever is seen is object, you are the subject. So again, all of them, all of the other Prakriyas are only stop at analysis of subject-object, and it points out to the subject as the witness. It does not account for the object. What is the nature of the object? The separation is, the separating factor between Jiva and Ishvara is the Jagat. That is what it is. So what is the nature of the object? That it cannot say. And so relying solely on avasthatraya prakriya, if it is not understood properly, can cause, as I said earlier, dissociation. But the karya karana prakriya accounts for the subject object difference by pointing to the fact that the object is nothing but the subject. That is what its beauty is. The object as a separate entity disappears. What is object? It is just name alone and form alone, word and meaning. And he has already established this, that the object that we are talking about is merely word and meaning. Now he is poised to say that the cause is one without a second. This is how we get Advaita. Mantra Sadeva Somya
Sadeva Soumya
Idamagre Asit
Idamagre Asid
Ekam
Ekam
Eva Advitiyam
Eva Advitiyam
Tadha
Tadha
Eka
Eka
Ekaha
Ekaha
Ahuhu
Ahu
Asadeva
Sadeva
Idamagre Asit
Idamagre Asid
Ekameva
Ekameva
Advitiyam
Advitiyam
Tasmad
Tasmat
Asataha
Sataha
Sajjayata.
Sajjayata.
We are going to remain here for a while because it is a lot. Okay, so this is just to talk about what is what we are to anticipate what is coming. So all the things. So he says first. He says Sad eva, He Somya, O beloved one, Sat eva asit. Sat alone was. Idam. So the word idam is very important here. Idam agre. Idam in the Shastra is used for an object. An objectifiable thing is called idam. This. And this refers to everything that you can objectify. This chair, this table, this house, this computer, this person, this. And when you collect all the idams together, what do you get? Jagat. So a jagat is a collection of idams. Innumerable idams make the jagat. Idam, this idam, that idam, everything is idam. So many idams. These idams are the problems. Too many idams, and I am just one aham, and this one aham has to deal with so many idams. And of course one will be stressed, of course one will be anxious, of course one will be overwhelmed. However, this, so what is this idam? Idam shabda vachyam. Whatever is understood by the word idam is, yad idantaya grihyate. Whatever is understood by this idam, as idam, whatever is understood by the word this, tat, all that is idam shabda vachyam, the direct meaning of the word idam. So this is a pronoun, as I said to you, to refer to the entire jagat. So when you refer to the entire jagat, what happens? This pronoun is the one. It refers also to the one who says idam. See how interesting it is. So if I say this room, So the this room is a fact. It's an object. An object of what? My awareness. So in the words this room, one's own awareness is also included. That is what we have to understand with this word idam. Idam refers to the one that says idam, the conscious entity who says idam. And that is what he's going to talk about. So that's why the pronoun this is used to refer to the Jagat, and the one who refers to the Jagat is separate from the Jagat, but the Jagat resolves in the one awareness, in that consciousness. That consciousness does not resolve into the Jagat. You see, we are getting the same pot and clay example here. The result of that example, pot is clay, but clay is not pot. So the one who utters the word idam and pronounces this Jagat to be idam is aham, and that idam is not separate from aham, because that idam is dependent on aham to be cognized. The Jagat does not say, tada, here I am, look at me. No, it needs you, the conscious person, to cognize it. And therefore, this idam is connected to the conscious entity aham. Idam is an object of cognition, aham is the cognizer. This is what should I say, Vedanta baby talk. This is the first level of understanding. Idam is the cognition, aham is the cognizer, but that which is cognized depends on the consciousness of the cognizer for its existence. There is only one Sat, and that Sat alone is both aham and idam without being either. This is where he is going to get to. And then idam cannot be looked at without the cause of idam, which is the karana, which is Purusha, which is Bhagavan, the cause of the Jagat. That is also going to come. And then idam agre asit. So in Sanskrit, when we read something, we are always told, please catch hold of the word asit. Asit means what? Was. Was, is, will be, as dhatu. Was, asit, as, to be, was, past tense. And then these were, these as, bhu, etc., the verbs to be are all transitive verbs. Why are we talking about this? Because we want to see what is the subject, object of this grammatical object of this, asit. Sat asit. Sat was. Because if it's a transitive verb, if I say something was, then what was? Sat was. Sat was what? Jagat was. Jagat was what? Sat. What do you mean Jagat was Sat? This is what it comes. So we are looking at something here which we have to go through some very involved discussion, grammatical discussion, to establish the fact that the object is not separate from its cause. Everything that has come into the universe, just like the whole earthenware world, is one with its cause. Similarly, everything that has come from the universe is one with Purusha, Bhagavan, Ishvara, which is the cause. And then Adi Shankara is also going to say that this cannot be established logically. The Upanishad is the means of knowledge to understand this. So don't bother with logic. I have already given you these 3 examples. Use the example to assimilate this. So since this is an involved discussion, we'll take it up tomorrow. Okay, so I've just given you a little, what should I say, introduction to it. We will take it up tomorrow and read the Bhashya and see where it goes. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you. Are there any questions or doubts? Anything that requires clarification? Okay. Om.